Live. And we're live. Hello and welcome to Eastern Marshland Evening with Comrades. I'm DipDap. It works this time from the start. And now we have, first with us is Peter.
Hi everybody, I'm getting ready for the thermonuclear annihilation of the human species, and I'm awaiting with bated breath.
Next is Senna.
Hello, I am incredibly high, so this will be great.
And then Theo.
Turkey the leftist still.
Is it going?
Yay.
It is going.
Oh, wait,
YouTube
did we
is not
did we?
enough? It's not receiving enough video. Oh wait, it's going now.
Hi everybody, I'm getting ready for the thermonuclear annihilation.
Oh,
Wait.
okay.
Oh yeah, it's working.
It just
It's working. It's
All right.
working.
Alright, we're good.
DipDab,
Mm-hmm.
we will have to start over the intro. It only kicked in the middle of it.
Alright.
F.
Shit, I love that I'm so terrible at this. Okay, welcome to Eastern Marshlands Evening with Comrades. You already heard Peter. So here's Theo,
Aye.
and then Senna.
Fuck Turkey.
Hello. I will fuck the turkey because I'm high. Wait, no. Shit.
Is that how
You're
it
gonna, okay. Wait,
Is
you're
it-
gonna fuck the fear turkey? Okay, that's an esoteric reference.
Listen, fuck you.
Gonna
Turkey
fuck
is
the
a
fear
proper
turkey.
noun. Please, Turkey is a proper noun.
works? Yeah.
Depends which turkey you're talking about. It is Thanksgiving after all.
Almost.
Well, you
Alright.
see, we consider a Halloween a Thanksgiving in Central Europe, so there's
Mm.
that.
Well, because we mentioned Turkey, let's start off with Theo's corner on Turkey and how Turkey supports ISIS.
Right, yeah, sure. Let's talk about that. So, earlier this week, the United States Army Special Forces, in cooperation with Iraq, the SDF, and I think several Israeli aligned forces, I'm not sure, carried out a raid in Idlib against a compound that was said to be housing al-Baghdadi, so the leader of ISIS. Yeah, so they were flying their convoy of helicopters over Idlib. But as they were flying near Kobani, what ended up happening, all the way through until they were near the compound, the Turkish military opened fire on them with AA guns.
Mm-hmm.
The Turkish army opened fire on the US Special Forces convoy, who were still their allies, when they were carrying out, when they knew they were carrying out a raid against, ISIS,
Mm-hmm.
because the Turks are in contact and in communication with the fucking US because they're in fucking NATO. They know exactly where their forces in the area are, where they're going, and why they're going there.
Mm-hmm.
So, the only conclusion we can draw from this is that, not to mention that a former ISIS member reported that when the Turks began their invasion of northeastern Syria, they, as in ISIS, were contacted through channels of the Turkish military and told to attack Tel Abyad, Kobani, Ras Al Ain, and Kamishli.
Alright. So let's go through how many quote-unquote coincidences the Turkish have done in the last month.
First is the shelling of the fucking UN Special Forces base on in fucking Kobani,
Mm-hmm.
where 3 French servicemen were injured and one of them died of their injuries later. What else? when Turkish attack planes strafed a US military convoy.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of other things. Anyone else want to list them off, Peter?
Okay, I mean, I really don't have much to list off in terms of that so much. But what I will say about this is just how, like, what the implications are of that. Because US foreign policy has been pretty much categorical for the last 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you fire on US personnel, you will be fired upon.
Yeah.
This has been standard US policy. Like, an entire war was justified from a insinuated, accident, right?
Mm.
Now, of course, none of us really believe that the Gulf of Tonkin was actually an accident, but
Right.
it was used to justify it, right? So, in any case, for the past, since the end of World War II, the United States has treated any attack on US service personnel as either means for intervention, or in the case of the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and later on, outright requirement for a declaration of war.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's refusal to meet or even retaliate against the Turks in any physical or meaningful way, Trump has abandoned his allies. Trump has abandoned his allies in the Kurds, has allowed a foreign power, a potentially hostile foreign power, who's supposedly in the same alliance as them, to attack their troops with little or no retaliatory measures being taken.
According to some people on the ground, this came out a few days ago, there were standing orders coming from Washington that if actions are taken against US troops, they are to withdraw and hold.
Mm-hmm.
And
Withdraw. Fucking withdraw. Like,
they basically, one of the standard procedures of any military force, really, is that they reserve the right to self-defense.
Right.
And they basically just took that away from them.
yeah, like, this is the thing. We as communists are categorically against US imperialism, but I think it's an absolute fucking disgrace and a joke. It's so beyond a joke. Like, the one time where US quotation marks imperialism is actually justified, they still fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
You see, Syria
It's-
was
it's-
the US's least
Oh!
controversial deployment in the last, 25 years.
Yeah, like, we're perfectly happy to invade a country that didn't do anything, that had no part in the supposed attack we used to justify it. But, our troops actually get shot at and war crimes are actually being committed. Nah, fuck it. We ain't doing anything.
Yeah.
To paraphrase German comedian, we didn't invade Iraq because Hussein had something to do with 9/11. We invaded Iraq because we didn't know what Bin Laden was, but we knew exactly where Hussein was. Did he have anything to do with 9/11? No, but we know where he is.
It's a good point, actually. I think that's what genuinely fucking irritates me about this whole situation. The United States' involvement was a joke to start with, but having friends in the veteran community in the United States, Donald Trump's actions, like the actions of this administration in the White House, I said it on the last stream when we were talking about this. The Trump administration has single-handedly undone every single major foreign policy decision since the Kennedy administration. Every single one.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you exactly why. Because every previous administration was ruthless and willing to do anything to get America's interests through.
Yeah.
This administration is willing to do anything to enrich the prestige or financial stature of the president or any of the people in his cabinet.
All right.
Yeah. And this is the thing. I'm going to make a controversial statement. A controversial statement here, which is normal for me. But the thing about, war hawks like fucking McNamara with Vietnam and stuff like that. Like the United States has been an enemy of the class struggle and the enemy of socialism for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
But at least they were an enemy you could respect in a way. Whatever Trump is nothing more like this current administration, the current situation with the United States. It's such a fucking joke. Like it's a disgrace. Like this conduct, is beyond despicable because they aren't even managing to be despicable. They're just being pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say this is a good thing, but even in the case of them being pathetic, more people are dying. Like
Right.
they can't actually when they have a chance to actually do something good for once, they still fuck it up. I just
also the Turks have begun militarily threatening the Greek and the Bulgarians.
While you guys are talking, I need to go for 1 second. Just keep talking about it.
Right, yeah.
Alright.
So they threatened the Greek and the Bulgarian, both of whom are also NATO members. So not only is the US abandoning nominal allies for the Turks, they are abandoning other NATO members in favor for the Turks.
Look,
It's almost like fascists have absolutely no sense of honor, even to people they supposedly work with. The only thing they'll care about is, supporting other fascists.
While the Hitler comparison is far-fetched for Trump, I think Mussolini is a pretty good comparison because he also
I said that.
had no fucking coherent fucking political opinions. But
He started off as a socialist, ended up founding fascism, and then cucked out, basically. And I don't know,
yeah, and it just depended on what was useful for him. Sometimes he was a vicious anti-clericalist. Sometimes he met for dinner with the Pope. It didn't matter, as long as it helped him.
Yep.
And this is, I think, there was a meme that I had originally when Trump got elected where someone had photoshopped Trump's face onto Mussolini and it said El Duce. And quite frankly, it was the best meme I'd seen that day. And to be honest with you, you see, what we are seeing is a clash between two fascist groups. We're seeing a clash between the United States and the wannabe Ottoman Empire, for lack of a better term.
No.
And the United States, the most powerful force on Earth that has been tormenting independence movements for the past, 70 fucking years, is running and cowering from these people. The first time since World War II they've had a chance to actually remove the world from fascists for once. Remove fascists from the world for once. And they fucking back off. They are abandoning their allies, they're abandoning their foreign policy position, they're abandoning anything. The small sliver of good that the United States was doing has just been completely undone.
They might have also implied to NATO that they will veto any decision that will remove Turkey from the alliance.
So what does this say? If shit kicks off and the new recession that's apparently starting and everything like that, all the fucking wank fantasies of Modern Warfare 2 and shit like that come to pass, and the Russians come knocking in some alternate universe, what? America's just gonna be like, you know what, boys? On your own. See you later. Goodbye. Because that's the message they're sending.
I am telling you, if this recession does kick off, really hard, what's gonna happen is that the Germans are gonna be like, alright, we didn't want to be in Afghanistan anyway. They're gonna grab the French, they're gonna grab the Benelux, Italy, Spain, just the whole continental Europe NATO area, because they're all militarily reliant on the Germans at this point, and say, you know what, Britain? You know what, America? You can go off and do your own thing. We're just gonna be here and not antagonize the Russians. Because I mean, they've been alienating a lot of Central Europe for a long, long time now. But you know, this obviously goes to a whole new level.
Like, it's one thing to be like, you know, hey, someone's doing something dodgy, like, you know, could you please stop it? Like, it's one thing to do something like that, right? It's another to have an actual military ally be threatened with military action, but your number one ally in stabilizing a region to be fucking ethnically cleansed, and to be like, you know what? Nah, not our problem, not an issue.
Because, just a reminder, when the Turks rolled up to the UN, they tried to defend their actions by saying, I shit you not, no, we don't want to genocide them, we just want to resettle them all, as if that's not genocide. You know, there are actual literal concentration camps in Eastern
Yeah,
Turkey.
guys, you know, the Trail of Tears didn't actually happen, so, like, you know, everything's fine. You know, the Trail of Tears wasn't genocide, it was, relocation to greener pastures.
Yeah. Heaven, you
That's
know?
perfectly fine! Perfectly fine!
Fucking hell. It's like... if there was any nation in the past 70 years that warrants a comparison to the Third Reich, it would be Turkey right now.
Alright.
Yeah.
Because they are also invading, well, a foreign country with the intents of ethnically cleansing it. And they actually do have actual paramilitary units going into villages and executing people because they're the wrong ethnicity.
Yeah, it's not just...
That's literally what the SS Einsatzgruppen did. Literally.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, my mom doesn't know how to delete an email and refuses to, let me go and wait.
Oh, God.
That is the level of boomer we're talking.
There's literally a key on the keyboard that says delete.
I know.
Anyway,
I said boomer.
yeah, the fucking... what the Turkish state is doing in northeastern Syria, and in their own country for that matter, genocide several times over. Not just on Kurds, but also on Syrians, Armenians, Greek people that are living in Turkey.
Right.
Pretty much any ethnicity that isn't Turkish or maybe Arab, but Arabs too are second-class citizens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Turkey wants to become an ethno-state.
Yeah.
And the popularity and power of the Grey Wolves, and the fact that exemplary of this, and the fact that those literal ethno-fascists are allowed to have groups and cells in like countries all across the world is an absolute disgrace. We've banned them now finally after way too long.
Is the stream lagging?
Also very interesting. When the police the other day in Austria raided a compound in Tyrol that was linked to the Grey Wolves, special forces went in. Police special forces went in, cleared it out. Gunshots were exchanged with the people who occupied it, and what they recovered was a lot of ex-Soviet weaponry, like heavy weaponry. I'm talking automatic AKs, PKMs, 1 or 2 RPGs.
Right. This is not some low-level shit.
No, this was fucking... like, this is the kind of shit would imagine a militia guerrilla force to be shooting around with, like, actual old military equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Which, what does that say about, you know, the Turks? Because the Turkish state is funding them, even though they're saying that they're officially not with them, but they're You're useful in this case. Because I don't know if anyone. How much do you guys know about the Grey Wolves?
I know they need to be killed, but
Yeah.
apart from that, not much.
So their ideology is something known as tyrannism, which means
Oh.
they want to conquer and unite all of these Turkic people in that belt, going all the way from Western Turkey all the way over to I can't pronounce Xinjiang.
Xinjiang.
Yeah, all the way over there.
They're not Turkic, they're Tungusic.
They don't care.
They also want to do Mongolia, because they believe in that old Altaic theory.
Yeah. So, this huge, massive ethno-state, and then some even more hardline elements want to go conquer all of the Middle East, all of Europe, and just hold it under Turkish ethnic supremacy until, well, the Turks replace all of these ethnic groups forever.
Mm-hmm. Turkey, eh?
There's even one who is like, if we keep conquering, eventually we will have a world only populated by Turks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the level of insane fascism we're talking about.
God.
This is the kind of... They're like fucking supervillains, with their ideology. It's actually ridiculous.
They are fascists. They aren't just fucking conservatives.
Yeah, they are,
Mm-hmm. Some Hungarians.
It is.
Looking at Attila Ahmadjar, a person I met on a Discord server who is a Turanist. Fucking crazy.
Oh, I remember that guy. I know him.
Yep.
I know who you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not talk about that because that's...
The can of worms.
I don't want to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
Alright. So, have we concluded the sort of, Turkey is actively supporting jihadists hour?
Well, I'm just actively supporting jihadists.
They are jihadists.
Turkey needs to be removed. Just...
From the world. Make second partitioning of Turkey. Take their coastline.
Yeah, well.
It's hilarious.
So, what's next on the agenda?
The recession.
Ooh. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I tried to find information, but there seems to be a media blackout on it.
Okay, yeah, there is because they don't like it. Okay, so I can quote somebody I know, Twitter user, Dickophrenic. Yeah, I know. He works with Radio Fristera Javoy, another podcast. I asked him to explain it, and I'm going to read verbatim what he said. It is essentially banks are having liquidity problems, meaning assets aren't liquid / cannot be traded quickly enough. So the Federal Reserve is repurchasing treasury bills / bonds to inject liquidity into financial markets so they have cash that can stabilize trading costs. I'm going to send a Discord image link in the chat to give a visual example. The last time there was any major use of this tactic was in the 2008 financial crisis. I also need to mention that Hong Kong has now entered a state of recession.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Yes.
It's everything I could have hoped for. Yes. The collapse of the economy marches on. What really genuinely bothers me is these economic students, and these Keynesians and all these people who are like, oh, yes, free market economics, all that, They sit there preaching capitalism and preaching the inevitable savior of the market, while Marx is literally being proved right in slow motion, right in fucking front of him.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's the thing. Keynes is the 20th century equivalent of Cicero, because Cicero thought that work was going to be basically abolished with some new technology that was being made at the time. Keynes thought that we'd be working 3 to 4 hours a day right now. He was wrong.
No, we're working 12 because the model of capital hasn't changed, but the material conditions have.
Right.
But, modern economists don't seem to want to grasp that. Yeah.
Well, it's because curriculums and, university people across the Western world want to, hammer very specific economic views into people because you take a close look at the economy. You all should all see the writing on the wall, unless you were specifically taught that the writing on the wall is actually just a sign of better times ahead. Just do nothing. That'll fix our problems. Somehow.
Right.
Yeah, when problems show up, the best thing to do is just ignore them, and eventually they'll go away. That's how life works, yeah?
When confronted with challenges, it is better to think about more cheerful things. The F test by Adorno. I brought some more comic relief from my mother's texts. Is this something I should be downloading? It's a picture of iTunes. It's her taking a picture on her phone of iTunes.
What is she concerned about exactly?
She doesn't know what that is. She doesn't know computers. She calls her fucking iPad her desktop. Alright, but...
I don't know if I'm too high for this or not high enough for this. Either way, something's not right.
Boom. Yeah, boomer.
I am the confuzzle.
Another thing from the Wall Street Journal. Fed adds $104.5 billion to financial markets, also buys more treasury bills. The central bank injects both permanent and temporary liquidity ahead of FOMC meeting. Obviously, it's the WSJ. I can't read the whole thing, but I don't want to fucking buy their shit. So I can see part of it though is the permanent addition happened by way of central bank buying of treasury bills aimed at expanding the central bank's balance sheet of just under $4 trillion. The Fed bought $7.501 billion in short-term government securities. The economy is trying to stabilize. It will not work. Well, it might work short-term. It's not going to work long.
Then again, they don't really care about buying more than a few years, really, and they think they'll just be able to do it again.
Right, exactly. Well, as 2008 showed us, they're only cared about buying a few months.
Oh, yeah.
It's what they do.
Just enough so that they can prepare themselves and let everyone else suffer.
So they can prepare themselves to have Wall Street bankers jumping out of buildings. Again. Was it Black Tuesday is coming again.
Oh yeah, we are gonna have
Black
a
Monday.
repeat
Black Monday.
of. We're gonna have a repeat of the Great Depression and.
Great Depression 2. Depression.
I think when that happens, it'd be a very good time for leftists, especially in places like the U.S., to not let this happen in vain and all. You know that. If this is gonna go down, we gotta start acting.
Offer the alternative, not an alternative, the alternative, because there is one alternative. The alternative is communism. We don't need fucking welfare state. We don't need fucking social democracy. No, we need communism.
Yep.
Well, I have an alternative, but everyone seems kind of mad at me about it.
Yeah, but your
so-
alternative also includes the end goal of communism.
Yes, I believe in the most radical step of all. The complete abolition of capitalism as an institution by means of permanent removal of the infrastructure that supports it.
Mm-hmm. Soviet winter prison in the chat. The economy is gonna crash. This whole nonsense with the Fed is just further evidence of it. They're trying to artificially prop it up. Yes, they're trying
Well, I've been
to...
artificially propping it up for
For
years.
10 years. Because we still haven't recovered from 2008. We're not going to.
No,
Oh yeah, no. Like,
we
I
physically
find it very
can't.
funny. My dumbass boomer parents are convinced that, like, well, we're doing so much better than we were then. Jobs are up and everything. And it's like, yeah, and we're still seeing pretty much all the small businesses in town drop like flies while we get, another McDonald's and another Walmart.
The answer is there's more jobs because more people have more than one job.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course fucking jobs are going up. There's more people
Okay,
to have jobs.
let me put this like this. There are a lot of countries, including the one I live in, where working 2 jobs is in a lot of parts of the country illegal. You can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody needs to. And the idea that some people in the US need to do that in order to survive is fucking insane to us because
lot,
it
dude.
makes no sense.
Do you
Like-
know about the tactic of 39 hours?
Do inform us.
So people in the U.S. will pay people because you only have to provide benefits if they work full time, 40 hours a week. So instead of having them work 40 hours a week, they'll work 39 hours, 38 hours.
Yeah.
Which means they don't have to pay any benefits, so which forces these people to get a second job to pay for the benefits they would get if they worked one more hour. So instead of working 40 hours a week and getting benefits, they have to work, 39 plus 39, like fucking 78 hours a week to basically try and cover that.
Yeah, well, the US
You know,
has
in
those-
Australia, that would be like,
Yeah.
like even in Australia is like the peak neoliberalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, even we sort of look at that. Like, if you told an Australian, "Hey, you have to work 70 hours a week to cover all your basic expenses," they tell you to fuck right off.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't happening, fellas.
Americans are passive and they act like they're not.
Yeah. Probably to compensate for the fact that they give up all control to their superiors.
Yeah.
So we have something called labor courts,
Mm-hmm.
which are judicial institutions ran by former union organizers
Right.
who basically provide free legal coverage for any lawsuits. So, for example, if you get fired for unjust reasons, 'cause, yeah, that's a thing in most countries, like conditions, you can't just be let go. That's not a thing in most European countries. Like,
Right.
they have to provide a reason why they are firing you, and that reason has to be valid. The only other option they have is to, well, convince you to leave, usually by means of a pretty hefty severance package, which means once you're hired, unless you fuck up, you cannot be fired.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. They would have to convince you to leave for, well,
Yeah.
So you just do what Australian workplaces do, which is have so many millions of minute little rules and regulations, so if you fuck up one, they can justify it.
No.
In
They have to
Australia, that's
break.
what they do.
Yeah, so there are specific things because not the employer has to consider it valid. The labor courts have to consider it a valid reason for discharging someone. Say, stealing heavy equipment from the workplace or intentionally destroying company equipment, for example. That will be a valid reason to fire you. But basically, whenever you are let go, you can, for free, go to the Arbeiterkammer and basically go, right, I was fired for bullshit reasons. I want to sue them. And they'll sue them for you. And usually you'll win pretty heftily. And usually that would entail giving you benefits for at least 6 months or until you found the new employment.
Right.
And you can do the same because when you are so there's 3 ways that a contract, like a work contract, can be quit. You can get fired. They need a valid reason for firing you. You can you can fucking quit. You know, you can go to your boss and go, I fucking quit. It's fine. The third reason, which is the most common reason that a work contract gets severed, is if both the company and the when the employer and the employee both agree, I should go. That's the most common thing. That's that with the severance packages and all that.
Right.
And when that happens, because obviously a lot of companies will pressure you into it, because of course they are. When they want to fire you, but can't because that's usually ends up happening. That happens if they pressure you into it, because you have to sign a waiver at the fucking the labor courts. You have to go there. You have to sign a waiver. It's like, I am not being forced to quit my job. But if you are, you can tell them that, and then you can sue them for a shit ton of money. Yeah, that is pretty much the only way that you could conceivably protect worker rights properly without the obvious answer of just abolishing the fucking market relation. But let's entertain, the fucking clown of capitalism. Yeah, let's entertain that for a moment. In the US, what you'd have to do is you'd have to introduce something like we have. A judicial body ran by, the people it represents, or, the people who used to be what it represents. In our case, union organizers. With a law degree, obviously.
Right.
A judicial body that represents workers and their interests in court, in court cases against their employer. And does so for free. That is the only way you could consistently protect those rights.
Right.
And let's be honest, in the US, that is never. Ever.
Oh yeah, in the U.S. you would never be able to get something like that off the ground, and even if you somehow managed to get it to be a thing, what U.S. politics is really good at is corrupting things from the inside out however they can. There is absolutely no institution, private or public, in the U.S. that is not corrupt as shit.
Right.
There's a specific reason, I think one of the more specific reasons why it would never go through is the fact that labor court officials are not appointed. No court officials are appointed in Austria, actually, but they're not appointed. They are elected by the unions.
Right.
Unions electing an official body of the state, that would never go through in most countries, really. Wouldn't go through in Germany, either.
In Australia, it definitely wouldn't.
Because Austria works on a principle that's basically a soft form of dual power, where you have the state and entrepreneurs, and the workers all having their own organizations, basically, and they have to come together and make labor laws and shit like that. So it works on what's called the social partnership. which, as I said, is really just soft dual power. Well, yeah. Shit like
Jesus
that
Christ.
wouldn't pass in most countries. Because, well, mostly because of the Red Scare, really.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason we didn't have that problem, because we didn't have the Red Scare.
Ooh, Königsmark mentioned something in chat you might want to talk about once we finish this.
Hold on.
Oh, will we get an Epstein segment this evening? Oh, I'm gonna do this one.
All right.
I can do the Epstein segment.
We can
Yeah,
let
let me
Peter
just-
take that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll take that. I won't jump in yet because
Yeah.
Theo's still on her
Yeah.
weekly tirade, but I will jump in at some stage.
I think the important thing is that because of the Red Scare, most countries, at this point in the West, East, anywhere, are very scared of any sort of political representation for employees. Like, because that strengthens unions quite heavily, because it gives them a political body that they exercise power over.
Right.
And that's
That's the
basically
thing.
communism if you'd ask anyone in most countries.
And here's the interesting thing about that. Like, yeah, Dibdap, I know where you're going to go. I'll say it first.
Mhm.
It's you look at the you look at the jobs. Like, even our friend who we see in the chat weekly, who is an American conservative. I know, American conservative friend. Pick one. He openly says, like, union jobs in the US are the best jobs around. Literally, if you're in a unionized industry like construction or dock workers, or in his case aviation maintenance or something like that, where it's a unionized job, their pay and conditions is millions of times better. And US unions are neutered, right?
Yeah.
US unions
Oh,
are neutered,
yeah.
but where US unions are, where there what little industries that do have a strong union in the United States, their conditions are a million times better.
Yeah.
And that's the big reason why work conditions in the US are as horrendous and shoddy as they are.
Oh yeah, because
My-
hardly anything is able to, be
Exist.
unionized.
My grandfather openly says that when Reagan busted the like aviation like airport unions, that was one of the greatest moments that he'd ever lived. He is as anti-union as anti-union comes. He thinks that is like wrong. This is also the man that actively uses words that I will not say, like in public.
Well, no, but this is why unions are so utterly important to, because when the employer goes, right, I'm going to cut all your wages in half or cut all your benefits. If you're not unionized, most people are conformists. They need the money. They will just go along with it. If you have a unionized industry, the union will get together and be like, well, you do that, we're not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the power to just sit on the machines. There's nothing the employer can do.
Yeah.
Nothing. Oftentimes
Except
there's
do
nothing.
what they always do, which is eventually call in the National Guard, which then shoots the union
Remember
protesters.
when the United States used aircraft bombs for the first time on striking workers?
The Battle of Blair Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first time the U.S. Army Air Corps got used was to suppress its own people.
It's
Almost like the U.S. is a fucking despotic wasteland.
I'm also incredibly scared of any any organization of people that is against them that can do anything.
Dead.
Like, to be fair, if I was a capitalist in the United States, knowing that, like, I'd like to believe, deep down, I'd like to believe that there is some that I've seen it in American socialists, and I see it in liberals to a certain extent, that there is a certain idea buried deep in the US lexicon, similar to Australia, beneath all the racism and I'd like to believe that there is some sort of genuine goodness there, and I think that's what, like, there is an inherent shred of humanity in there, and that's why the capitalists are so shit scared, because they need to keep the propaganda machine up. They need to keep people thinking that workers being paid a living wage is unreasonable for lots of employers and so forth. They need to keep people thinking that.
Yeah.
Because everyone, like, I've had openly conservative friends tell me that they said, look, like, a couple of them have openly, if it wasn't for Bernie's stance on the Second Amendment, they would vote for Bernie. Like, there is a very, with all that's happened, there is a very strong leftward shift.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's killing us, quite frankly, is liberal politics.
Yeah.
It's what's killing us.
I think a good example of that is the CIA has this dossier, this list of their allies and potential threats that may arise from there.
Mm-hmm.
Germany is considered an unstable element because of their strong unions, and specifically because some of the more... This is actually even bigger in France, because in France, some of the most unionized sectors are arms manufacturing. And I'll tell you right now, if they know how to build them, they probably can figure out how to use them.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the funny thing that I've always... This is what I say to people when they ask me about unionization. I always say to them, my ideal for, at least in a social democratic, capitalist society, my ideal union structure, as much as it pains me to say it, is the French structure. Because what I love about the French union structure is they do have a sort of very Jacobin sort of view of it in a lot of ways. And the way I explain it is, if the train drivers go on strike, the postal workers are being paid really well. But if the train drivers go on strike, the postal workers are like, well, fuck it. If they're going on strike, so are we.
Because that's illegal in the U.S.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I heard stories about the strike, the strikes at General Motors. Or was it Ford? I think it might have been Ford, actually.
It was General Motors.
Oh, it was General Motors. When the General Motors went on strike, it's technically illegal for there to be a solidarity strike, obviously.
Yeah.
But the Ford workers and all the other branches, sort of all the other auto workers union members, even though it wasn't their workplace, came out there and started handing out food and supporting the picketing workers.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, there is a reason that GM caved so fast, because they were shit scared.
Oh, yeah. They didn't want that to explode into anything bigger. And they knew it would if they kept it up.
That's the thing. Solidarity striking. Like, this is the thing. Solidarity striking, I don't believe it's legal in Australia either. No, it was made illegal by work choices by the Howard government.
to echo you guys who went to the union hall, General Strike.
General Strike. Yeah. The sort of center-left liberal organizers were kind of like, okay, guys, calm down. But and I would like to say it is a personal point of pride to me, and I know I say it every time I get a chance to talk about this, where I had this moment about my union, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the Change the Rules rally, and you've got the Defense Workers Union saying fair pay for fair jobs, etc. Right? You've got the Nurses Union who are... Fuck, they can drink, let me tell you. But they're there being very angry and very volatile as normal. I fucking love the Nurses Union. You guys should really check up on their shit. They're great. But you've got all these different
strikes here.
You've got all these different unions around the place. You've got Rise Up and all these other different youth movement unions, and they're all like, "Yay, we want fair wages and encompassing salary packages, and
Yeah.
we want benefits and better super allocation, and and you've got all these different things going on, and then there's my union, the National Union of Workers, and one of our signs literally has "Capital is built in blood" written on it. Fair wages or we strike. Like, you've got all these others around us, and the NUW members at the trade union conference, everyone else is like, yeah, we should do this, and then there's me, TK, and Red Mushroom, general strike, general strike, general strike, general strike, and our half of the room burst out into chorus, and the boomer members on the other side of the hall were like, whoa, guys, calm down, calm down. The liberals and the boomers are like, calm down, calm down. We're not doing that far. I'm like, oh, fucking yes, we are.
It's coming, boys.
If I remember correctly, isn't it like if you try to like form a union organization, as in like, a general umbrella organization, don't you get charged with incitement like of terrorism?
Yeah, you can in the US. Not in Australia, but you can in the US.
Yeah, I meant in the US.
We are like... We're hell. I live in hell. I live in hell that has air conditioning.
I live in purgatory that doesn't have air conditioning.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so I guess that's all we can really talk about the recession shit. Final statement on this, the recession is coming. And before we let Peter go on the Epstein tirade, remember that you can send us a donation.
I saw it on.
Comrade John donated 22 Australian dollars. And you can also go to our Patreon. Perfect, Zordon's here!
I was gonna say, like, we don't even need to do the example. We'll just wait for Zordon. He's just showed up. He's gonna give us money. He's gonna be like, yo, yeah! Zordon's like the EML charity. He's like,
Yeah.
He shows up. He's like, yeah, mate. Zordon is that absolute...
Zordon, basically, I think TK's asleep.
Like, Zordon comes in like that OG at the strip club. He just makes it rain. He's just going fucking absolute ham.
Yeah.
Support your local sex workers and unionize them. Anyway, there's my message for the day.
Well, no, you have your other message. You gotta talk about the thing.
Oh yeah.
Epstein.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes. Well, excuse me. No, there are lots of interesting facts. There are lots of interesting facts that you need to know about this sort of thing. Like, we're talking about the recession, the inevitable crisis of capital, and how Marxist economics plays into it, and also how Epstein didn't kill himself. I mean, what?
What?
Like, literally, no one I have spoken to, not the conservatives, not the radical communists, not the SJW crowd, nobody thinks that was an accident. Nobody.
I have arrests that will lead to the Hillary Clinton of information.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the funny thing that I really sort of love about that whole thing was, all the memes that came out after that happened. It's just like, Jeffrey Epstein.
Zordon! I'm down.
There it is, Ray.
Hello.
Brother.
Zordon's making it rain. Like,
Brother Zordon.
the implications of Jeffrey Epstein talking would have been, well, yeah, I'm
Massive.
pretty sure, like, well, you see, both the British monarchy and the Clintons
And
had a
Trump.
vested interest. And Trump, yes. All three had vested interests in him not talking, because all three of them were involved with him in some way. And it's almost a certainty that Prince Andrew of the royal family would have been indicted by Epstein. It would also be quite obvious that Bill and
Hillary.
the Donald would have
Yeah,
been
Hillary
implicated,
and everyone else.
and Hillary would have been aware. Like, Hillary was perfectly aware that Bill was having affairs.
Yeah,
In fact, I'm almost certain she had a few herself.
I'm pretty sure she was okay with it. If
Oh,
being
I'm pretty
honest.
certain she had. I'm pretty certain she had a few herself.
Oh yeah.
But
Like, here's the thing. Hillary knows how to play to her audience.
Very well.
And one of the things and one of the things that she uses for that is like, well, you know, I struggled a lot with my husband Bill cheating on me. Like, she knows how to play to like the very like admittedly relatable, I suppose, feminine struggles. Like, oh yeah, just all these things, and she plays to them, and bougie liberal white women just eat it up.
And they're going to continue to eat it up until she's 6 feet underground.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and this is what's genuinely irritating, because, you know, Senna makes a good point, because I've seen her do it. She'll play that card, but at the same time, she'll then turn around to her conservative audience and say, oh, but like a good married woman, I stayed by my husband, and we worked through the issues. She is that's why, but the thing is, I do have hope. That's why Trump got elected. I'm convinced that her being the representative for the Democrats was exactly why Trump got elected. They could have put a dead fish on a stick
And
up as a representative, and they would have done better. Like, honestly, I will honestly say,
excuse you, dead fish on a stick for President 2020. Excuse you.
yeah, I'm okay.
No. You gotta do is you.
A
Gotta,
a dead fish is probably what Bill thought of Hillary. Anyway, moving on.
Wait, Peter. Peter, they already put up a dead horse for it.
God damn it! Do we need dead fish on a stick for president shirts now?
Dead
Oh
fish
God,
for
yes,
president.
please.
Yeah,
We should make that a
At
meme.
crypto,
We should
at
make
crypto,
that a
at
meme.
crypto.
dead fish for president.
Dead fish on
Yeah.
stick president. All right.
Yeah, but like literally, that's why it was such a terrible thing. Like, I will not lie to you. The moment that Hillary was announced as the representative, I became an unironic accelerationist for Trump. And because I knew from day dot, from that very moment, I absolutely knew that, like, we would get Obama, but worse. We would get feminist progressive drone strikes.
Rainbow drone strikes. Even though Hillary was advocating against gay marriage in my lifetime.
Hillary has never, ever like, she's never ever had a position.
Consistently shift with the polls and nothing more.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things I ever saw, like, my favorite moment from the Hillary campaign when she was arguing against Bernie was when she said, when I advocated for cheap and affordable healthcare for the citizens of insert state here, I don't see where Bernie Sanders was. And there's literally a photo of him standing right behind her on the podium as one of the lead advocates for it.
Yeah.
Like, Bernie is like, I'm sorry, all you tankies and anarchists who, like, say, oh, he's a liberal social democrat. Yes, he is a liberal social democrat. But I'm a Bernie stan. 100%. Like, I am a Bernie stan. I stan Bernie. Don't even care. And the reason why is because he may be a social democrat, but he is a self-avowed social democrat. He's never denied it, and his policies have been consistent.
He's respectably consistent.
That, and I'd say, a lot more so to the degree than to any other US politician. When he says he believes in something, I actually buy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it. I stand Bernie.
All right.
I feel the proverbial burn. But yes, Epstein. Regarding Epstein, like, honestly,
I'm just remembering.
Like, somebody got on the island.
What?
There's a video of somebody who fucking went on the island.
The island?
Epstein's island.
Well,
oh.
Wait, he had his own private island. Oh,
yeah.
no.
With like a temple and shit.
Yeah.
Let me get the video because somebody actually fucking did it.
Holy shit! Yeah, we need to see this.
I'll send it in the chat in a second. But continue on that.
like, I honestly, like, I'm looking at it. A friend of mine, Will, he's been on the stream before. him and a mate of his did an absolute fucking god tier deep dive on the Epstein conspiracy, and quite frankly, I'm going to say categorically, there is absolutely no way he wasn't murdered.
Oh,
100%.
no, there's a whole fucking thing now that some fucking pathologist came out and said, yeah, he's fucking murdered.
Oh yeah, like literally, pathologist is like, this is consistent with someone else strangling him to death, not him doing it himself.
Someone killed him.
In chat.
Yeah, like, and I saw like 100,000 quote tweets of that like news report, and it was always like, my condolences go out to this pathologist's family for killing himself within the next few days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
You know,
It's
like,
vague.
we know. But we also
Like,
have known.
Yeah. And, like, quite frankly, I don't understand how anyone thought this was going to work. That's what genuinely annoys me. I don't understand how anyone thought this was going to work. Like, for real. Because it's so blatantly obvious.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it hasn't been tackled, the fact that no one has done it.
Well, thing is, they've done it so many times and they got away with it, they got cocky.
Oh yeah,
It's
like,
happened before.
if you actually look into it, like, the Clintons have a very long history of people who spoke out against them mysteriously killing
Or
themselves.
dying in some form or fashion.
Oh
Either
yeah.
killing themselves or accidental death.
Yeah.
We 100% agree with the conservatives on this thing. She really is killery.
Yeah. Killery.
Yeah, she is. Like, you know, oh what? You have information that will lead to my arrest? What? Oh, you disappeared. Oh dear.
Yeah.
How sad. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, we're not defending Epstein. Just putting that out there.
We're not
Just
defending
very
him.
Oh yeah, no, he's a disgusting pedophile, and he will not be missed. But he was going to narc on a bunch of other pedophiles, and he very conveniently died before he could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
EML does not advocate the actual act of narking.
EML does not feel sorry for Epstein. He got what he deserved, but it should have happened after a court case.
Yeah, it's kind of like how, you know, take a similar stance on, like, Assange.
Mm-hmm.
He should have been tried for the fucking...
Rape. Was it?
Yeah. But, yeah. For the fucking, you know, sex
Yeah,
offender
not for the
charges.
whistleblowing.
Yeah,
That wasn't the problem here.
yeah.
On some good news though, I just realized that I forgot to tell everyone. The leader of Haftepe, Ismail Bakshi, the person that advocated for workers' councils forming, like, I think last year in Iran, has been released. Alive, surprisingly.
Neat.
But I guess we've talked about this. So Epstein did not kill himself. Now the next thing on our agenda is worldwide protests and riots.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Now,
What's going on in Lebanon right now?
Lebanon people are tired of their government, and I believe the prime minister has resigned. Same happened in Iraq after they protested and rioted.
Sorry, can I interject there for a moment?
Yeah.
According to the live map, there are currently reports coming in about U.S. troops moving back into like the areas of Kobani and Kamishli, in both operating in close proximity, but not in antagonism to Syrian Arab army forces.
Uh-huh.
Just Just wanted to put that out there.
So are we saying the Assad
Anyway.
curse is about to strike Erdogan?
Maybe. I hope so.
I hope. Brigadier General Strike in the chat, what did I miss? We talked about how Turkey actively supports ISIS and jihadists and the coming recession. But holy shit. Hong Kong has now entered a recession because of the protests, which means it could hop itself around a bit and spread because Hong Kong is a fucking capital cell on this earth. It is a rock of capital.
Oh yeah, and it's crashing hard. That's gonna hurt things.
Yeah, the Iraqi prime minister has resigned. The prime minister of Lebanon has resigned or is currently planning to resign. Hong Kong, the people do not care and they are not stopping. They do not care. They have, quote, no regrets. Chile is still going on. And I think it's spreading to other South American countries more. The world...
Oh yeah.
The world is tired of neoliberalism.
Oh yes, it is. This is getting intense. Like from what I understand, I read up a bit about this. It's been hard for me to find information on what's going on in Japan at the moment as well. But I believe there is still unrest ongoing.
Oh yeah, there's a huge media.
So that's not stopping.
There's also shit still in Barcelona.
Oh yeah.
Fucking Nippon Kaigi, I swear to God.
Yeah, there are massive riots still ongoing in Kyoto and Tokyo.
It's still
All right.
going, fellas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna keep going. I hope it picks up more. I hope it comes here. I know it's not, but I hope.
Here's the thing I'm noticing, like, just in the US, like, people are tuning out on the elections, like, more than ever. There's, like, there's always the diehard people who treat, our electoral politics almost like a fandom or something, but it's really just them at this point. Like, just other people that I see and interact with have either just clocked out entirely or, like, actively waiting for a chance to just do something themselves.
Yeah.
Even the people who aren't explicitly leftist are starting to get to that point. Impatience is growing over here, too.
We need to offer the alternative, and we need to talk to people. Just get off your high horse and explain shit.
Oh, yeah.
Without offering the alternative, we're not gonna get anywhere. That is important to remember. Without actually offering the alternative, it will end up, as Brigadier General Strike says in chat, a color revolution. It's not going to happen in our way unless we tell people how it is.
Wow.
I'm just going to say something in particular about how to go about this, particularly for the US. The Red Scare is still a thing. Like, it never quite left us.
Yeah.
And, also the USSR just genuinely was...
God, it's lagging again. Fucking parents have probably like
Oh, God.
tabs open.
Everything alright?
They probably have like 1,000 tabs open on their phone.
Huh?
My parents, being boomers, don't know how to close a tab on their phone.
Oh, my God. That's... Yeah. Anyways, the thing I was going to talk about that I got distracted by boomers existing. And this is especially relevant for, those people and even the generation or so after them. They still believe every bit of Red Scare propaganda.
Yes, absolutely.
And even in the younger generations where it is losing its hold, there's still leftovers. And I'm just going to say that trying to do something that would recreate the USSR or any of this other shit is not a good idea. Even trying to do something similar, I would say, is not a good idea. like proposing that as the solution is going to drive people away. You will look crazy. And personally, I think regardless of its, reputation, which, yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there about the USSR. I totally get that. But even putting that stuff aside, it's still left so much to be desired, and I think even with the few good things it did achieve, I think it's worth saying that we should be focusing on going above and beyond that. We can do better, and we should try to. And our solutions should look towards distancing ourselves from that. Because if we want to get any kind of support and present our solution, we have to make it appealing. We have to frame it in a different way, and it should probably be different from that.
We have to remember
just saying,
the revolutionary wave in 1917 failed. It failed and failed. We have to remember that it's still the best success we've had, but it failed.
Yes. It was an abject fucking failure, and we should not get stuck in the politics of the previous century. We need to have our ideas focused in the now.
I'm looking at MLs because Trotsky's been living rent-free in their brains for 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The thing is that the Soviet Revolution took a counter-revolutionary turn in 1921 with the NEP, and by 1928 the counter-revolution had completely solidified and had become the majority faction.
Yes.
This
Furthermore,
is why the workers' opposition existed.
Right, can I just interject real quick?
Yeah.
Japan?
okay.
No, you go first about that.
Well, the other thing I wanted to say is, this time, another thing we're going to need to focus on, especially as things heat up, is making sure we don't get co-opted, we don't get infiltrated, or any of this other shit again. We can't afford it to happen again. And they are going to try again. The next Red Scare is going to happen. Everything is going to try and fuck us over, and we cannot afford to lose to that.
Again. Yeah, so we went to prison in the chat. Lag is bad today. Trust me, by next time I will have gone into my dad's phone and closed every single fucking tab. Because, oh my god.
Yes, no, but riots are still ongoing despite the fact that there's a typhoon currently hitting Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, people aren't happy.
Also, there is a crowd outside the, outside of Camp Hansen in Okinawa.
Oh.
The U.S. Marine base, there is a crowd surrounding the military perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with that we need to think about I think just as a closing statement, because I kind of want to end this because of the lag.
Fair.
The thing is don't fall into some Fukuyamist idea history is gone. History is happening right now. We live in a history.
We live in a society.
Yeah. Things aren't going away. Things are still happening, and we need to be active in these things that are happening. Offer the alternative, and actually get your head out of your ass and tell people what's going on. Does anyone else have any closing statements?
Save the planet, nuke Turkey.
Yeah.
Turkey Delenda Est.
Yeah.
Yep.
Senna, you?
Fuck capitalism. Fuck all of it. We're gonna get rid of it. And hopefully we never, ever see it come back.
Alright, well, this has been Eastern Marshlands Evening with Comrades Lag Edition and Boomer Edition. Yeah, we live in a period from Königsmark. This has been DipDap, Theo, Senna, and Pac-Man. See you all next week.